to Behind the White. Once again, we are here chatting a little bit of Wanderers. I'm Jim Bailey alongside Chris Ida. And of course, a big shout out to Imagination Street and Bolton FM. Now, we're starting on a rather negative note this time around, aren't we? We were full of the joys of spring last time around. I mean, I was very ill. Pretty much recovered now. I feel better than I sound, if I'm honest. But you know, we've come off the back of that Wigan game because we had the stroll that was the Manchester City game. Mm-hmm. We go down to Northampton Town, facing off against Kevin Nolan's boys, and it doesn't go to plan.
No, that's a polite way of putting it. I think I'm paraphrasing Josh Dacres-Cogley a little bit when he ended up saying, we were good in spells, but if you don't end up scoring goals in them spells, you're made to pay for it. Yeah.
I mean, how many times are we going to have to play that same tape? It is frustrating. I can understand why there is frustration in the fan base around it. However, I would not be giving in to any of the frustration. It is a bit of frustration, and people, do sound off a little bit when things aren't going your way. But I think that some of the negativity is a little bit overboard. I think, yes, it wasn't a great performance. As Josh said, we were good in spells, but we didn't make those spells count. And I think that the main thing was that Mason Burstow chance, 13 minutes in, you expect him to absolutely bag it. And I'm not sure whether he's tried to be a little bit too clever and throw the goalkeeper off, or whether he's just had too much time to kind of choose what he's going to do.
Was he going for precision over placement, or the other way around, you think?
I don't know. It just seemed like the obvious option was to just
put your laces through it.
Just dink it around. Just dink it
Michael
around.
Owen did it more than enough times in his playing career.
Well, I mean, he did with a Ballon d'Or.
Well, yeah.
But yes, it's just one of those. I'm not sure exactly how he misses it, but these things happen. But very disappointing, especially after you see him score, an incredible goal the week before. But strikers will miss chances, and I'm not gonna lambast Burstow too much. I think he's earned himself a little bit of credit in the bank at this point with the goals he has scored so far this season, as long as that isn't, a regular occurrence.
Yeah, I think Burstow didn't catch the ire from Bolton fans as much as Josh Sheehan did, because the one change that had happened from the Wigan game was the fact that Sheehan came in for Erhan. My theory when we did the build-up on Wanderers Live was, if Bolton are going to see a lot of the ball, Sheehan would be one of those players that you'd want on the ball quite frequently.
Well, that's the way I saw it. Obviously, I wasn't on Wanderers Live this week, being away in Silverdale, but it was I felt it was a sensible kind of way of going about it. It was a game where you expect us to go down there and dominate possession, and when you dominate possession, Josh Sheehan is exactly the kind of player that you want to be getting on the ball and trying to make things happen. He was coming off the back of a man of the match performance for Wales as well. It's not as if he's not a good player. He's a very good creative player, and a good player for the top end of League One for me as a creative player. But he just didn't seem to be given the opportunities to really. Maybe he wasn't given the opportunity to make it sound like everybody else was at fault. What I mean is, he just didn't seem to affect the game all that much. And I don't know whether that was because it was down to him, or whether it was because we were playing not in a way that suited that, or whether we just weren't getting the ball to him enough. He just didn't seem to have much of an effect on the game.
I think the thinking was, certainly based off the comments we were getting on our post, was it's all Sheehan's fault. He's too slow. He takes too long to make a pass. When he makes a pass, it ends up being the wrong one. In fairness, look at why Bolton didn't have so much success from the wings this week, or last week against Northampton. Either the pass was underhit, or a Northampton player got to the ball first, or the one time that a Bolton player did manage to get a ball into the penalty area, either the chancing ended up being a half-arsed one at best, or there was no Bolton player available in the area. They ended up getting all sorts of combinations going against them, and they all happened to fall within that one match. And that was basically why Bolton just didn't have as much luck from either flank as they have done against Wigan and against City.
No, and again, this was a team that, I had my eye on the game. I knew what was going on. I didn't watch every minute of it because it was impossible to watch every minute of it, while away this weekend. But I did see the vast majority of it. And what I saw was that Northampton were very good at shelling up, playing that low block. But they understood, unlike Wigan the week before, they understood how dangerous we can be on the wings, and they worked very hard to nullify that effect. It's one thing saying, Josh Sheehan was playing the wrong balls or they were getting cut out when we were trying to go wide. But if the game plan is let's get the ball through the middle to Josh Sheehan, he's going to pivot, he's going to find the man out wide, and then he's going to ping the ball over. If Northampton had made a very, very worried about what our wingers can do, then they're going to be very vigilant in trying to stop our wingers doing that. Part of that is to cut off their supply, and they seem to be doing that very, very well. Should that at that point maybe Josh Sheehan have taken it upon himself as a creative player to think, right, well, that's not working, I'm going to try something else? Maybe. But you can't lump that all on him. You've got to give some credit to Northampton because they defended very, very well. They made it very, very difficult. It doesn't surprise me one bit that Kevin Nolan was such a name on the team sheet for Sam Allardyce, because it was a very Sam Allardyce type performance. It was gutsy, but and they fought really, really hard for absolutely everything. They were desperate to be first to all the second balls. They just looked really, really up for it, and once they got that first goal, just in the way they were playing, I didn't feel hugely confident we were going to get back into it, because they had looked so solid at the back and so organised and so willing to make life very, very difficult for us. The only time the only clear cut chance I felt we had was that Mason Burstow effort, and if that goes in, then it's a different kettle of fish, because as I've often said, you get that first goal and they can't shell up anymore. They have to come out at you at some point. They have to try and get that equalising goal. If they don't, then you can just let them sit in their own half and counter to a 1-0 win. But as soon as they do start to come out, then it starts to open up those gaps, and that's where your Coles, your Dubras and your Gales, that's where they operate so well. It's when there's that little bit of space to run in behind. There was no space to run in behind Northampton. So maybe it did need a bit of a let's reassess and let's try something different. But they were very good at shutting us down. I feel like that's going to be a difficult place for people to go this season.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that they should be underestimated, and maybe there was a little bit of underestimation in our, in our ranks. I don't think necessarily from the management side of things, but maybe coming off the back of the Wigan victory, maybe there was a little bit of an air of overconfidence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch last week's episode back. It certainly felt as though we perhaps were more overconfident.
Oh, I was over the moon, mate, let alone overconfident.
Well, yeah,
I was basking in the glory of that Wigan result.
Again, it's understandable, but
it is. But it's all right when we do it, because we're fans. We're not out there actually playing these games as a professional. That can't be an option, and I'm not saying that is what was wrong, because I'm not inside the camp and I don't know that that's what the case was. I'm merely speculating. But if that is the way, then I think that Stephen Schumacher needs to drill it into them that you don't underestimate anybody, you don't take anybody for granted in this division.
In fairness, that was the tone he was taking in the presser. That was the tone he was taking. I think one of the questions that was posed to him, do you need to go to a lower team like a Burton and a Northampton? And he ended up more or less firing back saying, I don't believe there is such a thing as a lower team. Every team in League One is a tough one to play against.
It's a really competitive division. I think sometimes people forget that. There are very often fine margins, unless you're in a position like a Birmingham or a Wrexham where you quite honestly have a squad that's much, much better than everybody else in the division. And that's what we saw last season. I think that sometimes inflates people's expectations, people's desires, because they believe that, well, we're Bolton Wanderers and we used to be in the Premier League and in Europe and we should be doing that. Well, yeah, I'd love it. And yes, off reputation alone, yeah, of course we should. But you can't buy players on reputation alone. The money has to be there. And when you look at what Birmingham spent last year, and although they were, they were very much the best team in the division, it wasn't, as they say, HMS Pistol League, was it?
No.
They struggled at times. They had a little slightly rocky start. They came to the tough sheet and found out. There was a few times where they didn't look like a team that was that much better than everyone else in the division, but they were, and it told in the end. But we're not in a position where we're ever going to be at this moment, with the current financial setup of the club. We aren't ever going to be that far and away. Our squad is just so much better than everybody else because we don't have the funds to be able to do that. I think it is always going to be competitive. I think it's always going to be that when, and not if, but when Bolton Wanderers finally do, whether it's this season or next or whenever, when we do finally get out of the division, it won't be because we were head and shoulders with everybody else in the division in terms of talent. It'll be because we've had a very good season with a good squad, with good management, that little bit of luck that every team needs to get out of a division. It'll be one of those things where everything just comes together, rather than, we've just splashed money all over the gaff and we've brought in all these amazing players, so see you later.
I think I'd ended up saying words to the effect, imagine what would have happened if Birmingham, having spent all that money, didn't end up getting promoted.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Then the EFL might have had a look at their finances and gone, you spent a bit more than you should have, lads. Do you want to explain? And they go, what's that? And run. That's an imagining. That's how I imagine it might have happened. But as you say, they ended up getting the job done at the first time of asking. Weren't particularly great in the EFL Trophy final against Peterborough, it has to be said. But I think by that point they thought, well, if we win, it's a decent bonus. If we lose,
yeah, the serious eyes were on a different prize at that point.
Yeah,
but
they were.
But still, for a team like that was so, massively expected to go and waltz through the season. I'm sure they were disappointed not to have come out victorious there, and I'm sure the fans weren't too impressed leaving Wembley that day. They did go on and secure the title, but no shockers there. They, like I said, they just spewed money all over the gaff. So it is what it is. But that's not what Bolton are, and it's not what we're set up to be right now. So you can't expect. I look at what teams spend. I look at what teams have got to offer players, and sometimes you've got to be honest and say that at this moment in time, everyone says yes, we should be a top 2 team. Are we in the top 2 spenders? Are we in the top 2 wage payers? I'm sure we're well up there at this moment in time, but are we in the are the teams that have assembled better squads by spending more? And at that point, do you say, well, actually, should we expect to be top 2? Are we expecting to be top 2, or are people expecting to be top 2 off the actual playing squad, or is it just off the name Bolton Wanderers and what we used to be? I think that is always something to take into account. I want us to be up there. I want us to be getting out of this division. I want us to be getting to the Championship. But when I look at...
Is it worth saying we've only played 10 league games
It is,
so
but
far?
but over those first 10 league games, when I look at our squad compared to other squads at the top end of this division, I don't look at our squad and go, we're miles better than everybody else. So what is the expectation there? Why is the expectation to be absolutely smashing it up at the top end when you look at the squads and you think this is a very competitive set of squads that want to be up there. This is going to be a slog and a fight, and I want to see us come through that slog and a fight, but I expect it to be a slog and a fight. I've never expected League One at any point to be a walkover.
I think that is the problem with being involved in the top 2 divisions for so long. I mean, for most of the first 30 years of our life, that was what we were accustomed to.
Absolutely, and I get it. I absolutely get it, and I would love those times back.
Well, you got to earn them even after they go away.
But that's it, and realistically, people say, well, things will happen. Well, it's embarrassing because we used to be this. Yeah, but we're not that because someone came into the club who
just say it's bad management,
bad financial management up at the top end of the club, and having then the Andersons come in and decimate the damn thing to be even worse than when they got hold of it. Like, we suffered so badly those financial times and we nearly didn't exist. And I know that you can't just keep going on and saying, oh, well, at least we've got a club, because we all want more than that for Bolton Wanderers. But when your club nearly didn't exist, you can't just suddenly expect to, right, we're saved now, boom, we need to be in the Championship. Yes, long term we do need to be in the Championship, but it is what it is, and we're not in a position to be just spending our way into the Championship. And as much as I'd love it to be the case, reputation ain't worth points.
No, it's not. Possession ain't worth points either, and I think Bolton did have more of that. If we get back to Northampton, there were 3 things that I think works against them before the goal ended up happening. One, there was only 1 booking in the first half for Sam Hoskins. I think the argument, if you listen to Derek and John on commentary, was Northampton should have ended up getting more than 1 booking in the first half. There was nothing malicious about Northampton.
No.
It was just the fact that they were willing to do whatever it took to make sure Bolton didn't provide any full force attacks.
A very physical side.
I think
not within, not outside of the laws of the game, but yeah, they got stuck in. It was a bit of hustle and bustle there. And again, from a Kevin Nolan team, that's what I expect. Kevin Nolan got stuck in. Kevin Nolan liked to have a bit of an hustle and a bustle, at both ends of the pitch.
Of course.
I think Kevin Nolan is a much better coach and manager now than he was when he was first getting into it, because I think he went and he went and did his time. He went to West Ham and he learned a lot there, and then I think he's going to do well with Northampton.
I'd like to agree with that assessment.
And like I said last week, all in favour of Northampton having a great season, just not against us. They didn't hear that last bit, obviously.
No. But second thing, Bolton did nearly take the lead early in the second half. It was a well-worked move. Marcus Forss has a shot, but Ross Fitzsimmons, not the usual keeper, by the way, but it's a really good one-handed save to tip it around the post. Goes out for a corner. And that was it. There wasn't anything else to sink your teeth into vis-a-vis attacking chances for Bolton.
Well, I think I was playing cards right.
Were you playing cards at that point? Did you miss Josh Jacques-Cogley getting a bit of an injury and having to go off just after the hour mark? One person...
No, I did see him go off.
Right. I think this is where it changed for the worse for Bolton, because both of the Northampton's goals ended up coming down the left-hand side, and we didn't have a recognised replacement for Josh on the bench. Now, fair enough, Aaron Morley came on, and you thought, well, they're losing control of the midfield battle. Send on Aaron. Maybe it'll tip the scales back in Bolton's favour. Morley did have a shot that was quite comfortably saved by Fitzsimons.
It was.
And I don't remember him doing a whole lot there.
No, and again, I think we struggled. We did struggle to get a real hold of the game. And then, as you say, those 2 goals come down that side. Down their left-hand side, our right, but have I got that right there? Have I confused myself?
The first goal came from a cross from the left-hand side by Dean Campbell. If Dacres Cockley was still on the field, maybe he would have been in place to be able to block it.
I'm right, I'm just confusing myself.
But comes in, McGeehan ends up leaping highest above Max Conway, and the header's not bad, but it's too powerful for Teddy Sharman to try and keep out, and that's how Northampton take the lead.
To be honest with you, I wasn't massively enamoured with Teddy's performance.
Really?
I think he could have done better on a couple. I think he could have done better on both goals, to be honest with you.
Admittedly, he did somewhat reprieve himself by saving a penalty, but Sam Hoskins... Imagine what it would have been like if Bolton had thought, well, Hoskins, for reasons best known, he's the kind of guy who can play anywhere on the football field, Sam Hoskins, at Northampton. I don't know how it works that way, but he's managed to find a way to be able to do that kind of thing. But my thinking was, Hoskins is on a yellow card. Send the ball over to the left-hand side. Try and have Thierry Gale go past him repeatedly. One time, Hoskins will surely end up making that one challenge that will draw the eye of the referee, get a second booking, he goes off the field, Northampton lose one of their key players, because they'll be down to 10 men, of course. And yet, I think he was too wise to that. But then Northampton were too wise to it as well. And then Cozy Adubri, I think it's one of those things that you do learn to get better at as you get more experience. I think he was trying to get to the ball, not aware of the man close to him, so he does that kick, done it, ends up connecting with the player, it's inside the area. You couldn't argue, it's a penalty.
No, it was what it was, and it's... You can't really be too angry at him. he's not intended to boot the bloke, but yeah, it's clumsy. It's an attacking player defending. It's the old adage, isn't it? I'm not going to lose too much sleep, especially given that it didn't end up going in, so it's fine.
No, but Hoskins takes the penalty. Good save by Sharman.
It was a good
perfect in a
save.
shootout.
Yeah, look.
But
I was disappointed with the 2 goals he conceded. I was very pleased that he saved the penalty, but it's all well and good saving the ones that people don't expect you to save if you're going to let in other goals that are a little bit soft.
You think he could have done better with the penalty save, try and force it around the post rather than just put it right back in the mixer, and Sam Hoskins...
to be fair, I'm probably being a little bit harsh.
Let's say this about Sam Hoskins. If he misses one opportunity, he ain't going to miss the next one.
No, I'm probably being a little bit harsh, to be honest with you, in that regard. But, yeah, you just... Yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. I'm being a little bit harsh with it being a rebound for a penalty that he has saved. If I was goalkeeper, I'd be fuming that he was the first person to the ball, to be honest with you. I'd be like, where's my defenders? So yeah, maybe I'm being a little overly harsh there. But yeah, on the first one, I'm not enamoured.
No, I think that's understandable in the circumstances. More people already online are saying Sharman Lowe, he's a great kicker, but his shot stopping's not all that great.
Well, that's the thing, and then that's the thing, the discussion that I've been having with a lot of Wanderers fans. That's what I hear from a lot of Wanderers fans, is what I'm hearing. And the thing is, there's this obsession, right, with distribution, keepers' distribution. And yeah, I get it, it's an important part of the game. But if you could pick any goalkeeper that you've ever seen play for Bolton Wanderers to come in and be the goalkeeper now, who are you picking? I know who I'm picking.
I nearly ended up saying Yossi. Keith's got to be my first one, Brannigan.
Brannigan's your first up. Now I'm thinking Yossi Ascalani.
I'd
have Yossi in. And now, Yossi Ascalani was probably the best shot stopper I've ever seen at Bolton Wanderers in my lifetime. My dad might argue for the Eddie Hopkinsons of the world. I never got to see that. But I saw Yossi Ascalani play for Bolton Wanderers, and my word, he was a goalkeeper that could... He didn't just save you points, he won you points by keeping the ball out of the net. You know what he was absolutely rubbish at? Kicking a ball. The amount of times Yossi Ascalani would kick the ball out of play was ridiculous. He gave possession away so much. But he was the best goalkeeper I ever saw at Bolton Wanderers. There was a reason why he was one of the first names on the team sheet when Big Sam was the manager, because he knew he could keep the ball out of the net, and that is a goalkeeper's primary job. Yes, it's fantastic if they can use the feet, if the distribution's good, if they can get involved in the player, the build-up, in the sweeper keeper kind of role. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. But if you can't keep the ball out of the net on a regular basis, you're no good to me, because you're a goalkeeper, not a sweeper. The distribution side's great, and I actually think that Teddy's distribution is among some of the best distribution I've seen from any Bolton keeper I've seen.
I did that joke question, didn't I? Saying, have you tried kicking the ball towards Chorley New Road from the training ground? Which, given what Teddy's like, he could conceivably do. But I do get the impression that...
But statistically, he's like...
He's not the shot stopper that you want him to be.
No, if you look at the actual shot stopping, if you look at the shot stopping statistics for the league, he's quite far down.
It can improve.
It can improve, absolutely, and I hope it does, because again, his distribution is good. He does bring some other things to the table, and arguably, maybe his shot stopping percentages would be higher if he faced more shots as well, because in a lot of games we limit teams to opportunities. But and obviously that goes on the defenders as well, because they sometimes they'll leave a goalkeeper exposed. It's not all just on the goalkeeper when you're looking at those statistics. But if you look at the top end of that, the goalkeeper at the top of the the shots saves ratio is top of the league.
It's a bit like when you assemble your team at the tournament at a major international one. If you end up being the winning team, you best believe your goalkeeper should be there. I can't remember whether Jordan Pickford ended up getting it at not the last European Championships, but the one England really should have won back in 2021. But it is one of those things. Your goalkeeper, if you're one of the best teams in the tournament, should be one of the players you should see when it comes to assembling that final squad.
I mean, look, if you look at it over the history of the Premier League, can you think of a Premier League winning side that had a goalkeeper that wasn't fantastic at keeping the ball out of the net?
You could point to last season. Alisson didn't have as many clean sheets as he'd had in the past. Edison, I think Man City have let him go at long live last. It took him about a year longer than it should have done, but I am trying to think off the top of my head. No, it's a short answer.
And you look back at the teams that were the big teams over the Premiership years thus far, since obviously, and I'm kind of limited to Premier League because I don't, as much as I'm not one of those that thinks that football was born in 1992. When the Premier League launched in 1992, I was like 5 years old. 4 or 5 years old. It is what it is. I don't have the base knowledge of having seen it and done the eye test on anything really before that. But if you look back at those big teams, you look at the goalkeepers, and there weren't many teams that had like a plethora of different goalkeepers that you remember from the eras where they were dominant. You had Schmeichel, Seaman, Lehmann. United maybe got a little bit sketchy, but still, even though he's probably not as big as you'd think, when Bosnich came in for United, he wasn't rubbish by any stretch.
But he weren't Schmeichel.
But then you had Van der Sar. You look back at these teams, they rarely had a rubbish goalkeeper at the back, in the sticks. And not to say that Sharon Lowe's rubbish, it sounds like I'm proper going on at him here, but I just think that he needs to step up a little bit. I don't know if it's ability, I don't know if it's concentration, if we had a game where we're getting peppered, would he be mint because he was just busy? It's very difficult in a game where you're not having much to do to keep concentrated for 90 minutes.
I think this is the problem with Bolton so far this season.
Is there a little bit of a switch off at the back, not just for the goalkeeper, but in the entire back line in these games?
Well, how many times have we seen it?
Dominant?
Leyton Orient, Blackpool, Lincoln City. They're 3 examples off the top of my head. Now, Lincoln, fairness, happened after 19 seconds, so it's not as though as a Bolton fan
cold there.
It's not as though as a Bolton fan you go, I can't believe it. We've had so many shots on goal, shots on target. Their first shot, they've ended up getting the first goal of the match. You couldn't say that with Lincoln, in fairness. But you could with some justification against Blackpool, against Leyton Orient, and you can say it as well against Northampton. And that is Bolton's problem at the moment. Oh, and by coincidence, those happen to be 3 away games where 1 or 2 of them you would have thought Bolton should win these. And here we are. It's the 30th of September at the time we're recording this, and Bolton still haven't won away from home in League One in the course of the 25-26 season.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it is about playing away from home that's stopping us from going out there and putting the performance in that gets that win. Maybe it's one of those where once it happens, it'll be, that's like a mental block lifting.
I wanted it to happen on Saturday. I thought if ever there was a good time for it to happen. I wanted it to happen against Stockport on the first day of the season.
I know you want it to happen. But I know what you mean, Chris. It's becoming a little bit of a hoodoo, a little bit of a monkey on our back now.
And the longer it goes on, the worse it ends up getting. And the more fans are clamouring going, we're Bolton Wanderers, why are we not in the top 6 at given X point of the season?
Yeah, why aren't we winning away from home? That is the key. And I'm sure that it's something that they're working on diligently. I'm not one of these people that's saying, Schumacher's had enough time now, he's not doing very well. I think that's nonsense. I still think he's doing a decent job at this moment in time. Could he be better? Yes. But I think it's very fine margins that he has to iron out. And you could see, and I said that about the Ian Evatt era, but Ian Evatt had the time to iron them out and didn't. I think that Steven Schumacher needs to be given some time to iron those last little bits out, because when we fire, we really fire. It's just about finding that consistency and doing it on the road as well.
I think that's it. People harp on about Manchester United haven't won consecutive games under Ruben Amorim, or interim, as one media person I know labels him. But Bolton haven't achieved consecutive victories this season. In League One, I should point out, they have managed to do so when they've had an EFL trophy match in the same week. But come on, just beat Peterborough this weekend and then follow it up with whoever you face next. Now we might as well address this here and now. I have no idea at this stage whether the Burton game on the 11th of October will happen. If it does happen, great. If not, well, it means that the Huddersfield game gets pushed back to a Saturday afternoon rather than a Thursday evening kickoff.
Yeah, which I still don't understand.
It's balmy, I know.
I just don't get why. Well, this game's not going to happen now, so that game you were going to have on Thursday, we're going to push it back.
You know they have put the Huddersfield tickets on sale. And the plan is, if you end up buying it for that day, it'll be honoured for the Saturday. So
yeah,
at least
something
good
it makes
comes
sense,
of
doesn't
that.
it? You know, it makes sense.
And I should point out
it'd be better on a Saturday.
Of course it would.
I prefer it to get pushed back to the Saturday. It just seems really weird that whether or not we play on this Saturday determines whether we play on the Thursday or the Saturday. And actually, if we don't play, we get an extra 2 days rest. But if we do play, then we don't get the extra 2 days rest. We play on the Thursday.
Look at it another way. If they do end up playing Huddersfield on the Thursday evening, it's not as much rest time from the Burton game, but it does give you plenty of time to prepare for the visit of Cardiff City on the 25th of October. So you get an extra day and a half.
That's true. And it swings and roundabouts, I suppose, in that regard. But it does seem very much to me one of those things that's what is going on with the EFL?
It's not. I don't think it's an EFL thing. I think it's a Sky thing. They, I think, towards the end of August, ended up selecting their telepicks.
Yeah, but why would that then change? Why would the TV pick change?
Because we don't know whether Bolton's match of Burton is going to happen.
But that has no bearing on the TV on the Thursday.
This is them trying to plan and having a backup just in case the original part of the plan doesn't go.
Sort it out, Sky.
I've done myself a tongue twister there, just for that bit alone.
But yeah, Peterborough, we know he's going ahead, so...
Yeah, good. Bolton have to win, straight, simple as.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's one of those games against Peterborough, you never know, is it going to be quite a tough game where there's going to be a goal in it, or is it going to be a mad goal fest? One way or the other, off the both. I mean, we've seen it all against Peterborough over the years.
I am hoping it's better than last year's game.
That was awful.
Except for the Lolos goal that really shouldn't have happened.
Booted it into his chest.
I know we spoke earlier about where were the defenders to try and prevent Oskins from having that rebound effort. What were Peterborough's defenders doing with those two saves that Bill Lakapic had to make for Peterborough? Even their fans were going, what is this? Because Claudio Lolos ended up
that forward's running in. Well, I know, we'll just kick it at him.
I mean, it was a good way for Lolos to break his duck.
Absolutely loved it. It made it even more entertaining for me. I thought it was hilarious that they just basically cleared it into our player, who was basically standing a yard away from the goal line. It was fantastic. And then they had the audacity to claim that it hit his arm.
Yeah, nice try, lads.
But no, hopefully it's a better game than that one, especially in terms of entertainment factor. I wouldn't mind one of those old goal fests, to be honest with you, as long as we're going to be coming out.
Well, yeah, that's the key thing.
I think there'll be spacing behind, though, because Peterborough aren't going to just shell up and sit, I don't think.
Well, they're not that good at doing it. They've kept one clean sheet this season. It kind of ended up being a thing that Neil and I did on Saturday Sport.
Just proper slapped him down there. Like, fair enough.
As a running gag, Neil and I ended up doing last season. Right, there's a goal in a Peterborough match, and they've not kept a clean sheet. There we go. On to the next one.
Well, it is. Yeah, they're not the best.
And the one time they actually did it, I ended up going. Peterborough have won, and they've kept a clean sheet. I don't know what to say. I don't know why I ended up going for that somber tone.
Well, I would have gone for a somber tone as well. But no, it's going to be... I don't know what it's going to be. I'd love to say it's going to be an entertaining game. It might be absolutely dreadful like last season's was. But we have had some very fun encounters with Peterborough over the years. So we will see. I'm hoping it's going to be an entertaining one. And of course you can join us on Wanderers Live to enjoy all of that. Or not enjoy all of that, depending on what the game's like. But as long as we get 3 points, I'm sure we're all going to be very, very pleased come the end of it.
Oh, I certainly hope so.
Absolutely.
Do you want to do predictions now?
I'm what after saying I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Got me in it there.
2-0 Whites. That's 2-0.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'll go for the same scoreline.
2-0, that's where I'm going.
Mainly because I want Bolton to keep a clean sheet and I know Peterborough aren't going to do it.
Yes.
Although, in fairness, in their last away game, they did do that at Plymouth where they won 1-0, which was a bit of a surprise for all involved.
Yeah, but we're better than Plymouth, so we'll go out there and we'll bang in a couple of goals, hopefully. So, yeah, find out what happens on Saturday and see how right we were, and then we'll address it this time next week.
Aye. Now, let's talk about the women, because they did actually provide some cheer.
Yes, they
the first
did.
team couldn't.
Preston North End got a kicking. 6-1. Lovely stuff. And that was in the Cup as well, wasn't it? What was it? The Alliance Print and Design Cup.
Yes, preliminary round stage. They were absolutely phenomenal in the first half. 5-0 up by half-time. Fair knocks at the double, plus goals from Eleanor Seals and Imogen Longkick. Evie Sadler also scored in the first half and then got her second of the match in the second period.
Fantastic.
And Katie Woodhead netted a second half penalty for the Lily Whites, although the game was long since dead and buried by that point.
6-1 to the Wanderers women, and they march on in the Cup. It's great to be getting around those preliminary rounds, and hopefully we can have a good cup run and get focused back on the league, of course, when that comes around.
Aye, lest we forget, this coming weekend they're up in Gateshead to play rugby for the ladies. You seen what the Bolton Wanderers Supporters Trust are doing?
No.
They are putting on a coach for anyone who wants to travel over to that part of the northeast to see the women in action.
Oh, belting.
As far as I can ascertain, it's leaving the Tough Sheet Community Stadium at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. So if Bolton do win, don't celebrate too wildly if you're planning on seeing the women the next day. But I kind of think that's quite cool on the part of the Supporters Trust, though.
Fantastic. That's fantastic because we highlighted quite a lot last season what they were doing down at the women's team. We'll be doing more of that this season. We're going to be sorting out. We'll get Miles back down. I say back down. He's never been into this wonderful new facility. But yeah, we'll get Miles down. Hopefully, we might be able to get Reese in as well. That'd be good stuff, and we'll hopefully get some of the girls in as well. Now that we're not all crammed in a little shoebox behind the table with shirts on the wall, we can fit a couple more people in. So we'll get you some good stuff with the women. It's really good that they're doing this though, because it just helps again give people more opportunity to go and watch them. Because again, in a game like this, they're going up to Gateshead on a Sunday. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do if you're having to plan for travel and tickets, food, all that stuff. Especially if you go into the game on the Saturday as well, it's an extra chunk of coin there. But to eliminate the cost of travelling like that, to put on a coach, it's not going to be completely eliminated, but it's bringing it down, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not going to cost you the world. It's not going to be as much as if you were shooting up there on the train.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it was something like 25 quid for adults and 15 quid for children. It's
bog standard kind of away day prices, but it's not going.
At least it's not you burning through your petrol.
Well, exactly, and the fact is, like I say, for these longer travels, there isn't the official coaches laid on, so you are having to make your own way. That's going to be more expensive than $25. So it's making it more affordable to go and follow the women to a game where you want to try and get people up there. You want to try and get a bit of support behind the away team, because I can imagine that, especially lower down the pyramid, you go to some of these far-flung places, and you're not going to be playing in front of many of your own fans, and that's not going to be massively helpful. So if you can get down there and get a bit of support for the girls down up in Gateshead, that'd be absolutely cracking.
Just think the reward that's at stake if they do win at Rutherford Ladies, the first round proper of the FA Cup, and that's the period where the teams from both tiers of the Women's Super League get involved.
There you go. So get through that.
Great prize at stake.
Could all the way off to Arsenal, or to Chelsea, or to United. I mean, United would be much easier down in the league, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, we will see. Best of luck, of course, to the ladies in that game. It's a massive game up in Gateshead, and as we say, check out the Bolton Wanderers Supporters Trust, who have sorted out a course. 25 quid for your adults, 15 for the kids, and it's a lot cheaper than driving up there. It's going to be cheaper than getting on the train as well. So you might get a cheaper megabus, but it's going to be a bit of a blag in it.
Yeah, although you get to see Darrow Green, so there is that to put in consideration. Talk about the reserves, they just carry on going and going and going in Division 1 North of the North West Women's Regional League. 10-0 victors away to Fleetwood Town Ladies Wren's reserves.
There you go. 10 bells salute, one for each goal. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, to be banging 10 goals in 90 minutes is a fantastic feat for any team. Absolutely incredible.
Let's see what we got here. A quadruple. Yeah, a quadruple for Ella Schwiedel. Mind you,
Very
she's
good.
just been absolutely phenomenal with the goal scoring
Absolutely.
this season. Poppy Wallace with a couple herself, and strikes for Lacey Taylor, Tegan Higgins, Mila Hodson, and Emanuela Campbell. And they go to Chorley Women Development. So not quite as long for them to have to travel this coming Sunday.
No, an easier trip for them in terms of mileage, without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm sure they're going to go there and again put on a good display.
Reese is just doing
flawless,
a brilliant job.
Yeah, big up to Reese and the girls there, because it's an absolutely incredible. It's incredible to see them doing basically what the first team did last season in the same division. It just shows that talent is flowing through both the first and the reserves, and I'm all about it. Love it.
Yeah, and from what I can gather, the under-18s girls who play in the Greater Manchester Women's Football League, they are going just as strong in their particular division. So that's another thing to highlight. Basically, women and girls are having a whale of a time right now under the banner of Bolton Wanderers.
They are having a whale of a time, without a shadow of a doubt. It's going very, very well at this moment in time in the women's setup, and long may that continue. For the men's B team, not much going on because the game at Wrexham was called off.
Yeah, it was meant to happen today, and I don't know the reason behind it, but it didn't. So there's not really much more I can say on that particular point. Although defender Sean Hogan has been sent on loan to Ashton United for around about 3 months. He did play in the FA Cup tie against Runcorn Linnets on Saturday, where it ended 1-1. At the time of recording this, they are playing tonight, so I'm hoping, for Ashton's sake, that they can make it through to the fourth qualifying round. Can you imagine Bolton having an away day, a non-league team in the first round proper of the FA Cup? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great fun. Yeah, I'd love a little bit of that.
If it's one of those two, I think I'd be very much up for it. You know what? I'm doing this right now. Let's have a look at the Ashton team for this evening. And the Robins lineup. Oh, he's on the bench.
There you go.
Oh, well, it's something.
Yeah,
so he might
get a run out later on,
part.
and again, it's a taste of that senior football that's going to first team senior football that's going to help him develop, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I can't complain too much. And the one thing to note on the under-18s, they drew 1-0 up Blackpool in the Youth Alliance League. Xander Taylor put the Whites ahead on 68 minutes. The Tangerines equalised with 2 minutes left, and there was a red card, unfortunately, for Denver Clements in the 82nd minute of that match.
So it's just at all levels, really, that we struggle against Blackpool as well.
Yes, unfortunately, that does appear to be the case. And the last item that we have here, ultimately, we made a mention of the international break coming up.
Yes.
And maybe Bolton could end up having to put off their game with Burton.
But don't worry, you might well get your fill of Josh Sheehan still, because he might well be playing against England.
Yeah, now that'll be something, won't it?
Yeah, it'd be great fun. England and Belgium are those games. they're going to be tough games for Wales. But again, the great games for Josh Sheehan to be involved in if he's going to be involved in them. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting involvement, given that he's just coming off the back of a man of the match performance for his national team.
Yeah, and the Belgian one, I think that's a World Cup qualifying one because I know the England ones are friendly, innit? But either way, two very competitive games.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
To look forward to.
You know, friendly or not, it's England versus Wales. There's that little bit of home nation's pride on the line, and you know, I don't mean to make it sound like I'm talking down to any of the other nations in the home nations, but you know, England are the biggest one in terms of geography and population and thus talent pool, and we've been the most successful of the four predominantly for quite a long time. Every single one of the others raises their game when it comes to playing against England, so it's not one that we're going to be taking lightly, I'm sure.
No, not a chance. Not a chance whatsoever. Plus, in a small way, it might revive memories of one of the very, very, very few highlights of Euro 2016 when England beat Wales 2-1.
Which is always good.
Yeah, indeed. Even if nothing else of consequence happened in a positive sense for England. And Wales, in spite of losing that, made it all the way to the semi-finals.
That is very, very true, and that's how bizarre international football can sometimes shake up. But there you go, that's pretty much all we have got for you. We'll see you next time around. Of course, we'll be looking back on that game against the Posh. Don't forget, we are trying to name our dragon, so get your ideas in, give us a comment, give us a shout. You can comment on our TikToks or whatever, or you name it, you can comment on it as long as we're there. But do let us know your thoughts on what we should call our dragon. Wanderers related would obviously be ideal.
I personally think Henrik.
Henrik's a really good shout. I do like it. It's got that Danish name to it. Of course, he was more of a peacock than a dragon, but you know, we loved a bit of Henrik Pedersen, we were a shadow of a doubt. The goal machine, we wound up at left back. But anyway, I'm wandering off down memory lane, and that's not where I need to be going right now. What I need to be doing is wandering off down the passage to saying see you later, because we've finished the podcast now. So do make sure that you tell everybody about Behind the Whites. Tell all your friends, your family, your dogs, your cats, your hamsters, your goldfish, and all the rest of them. And do, as always, stay behind the whites. We will see you next time.